Welcome back to Road Gang Radio. Join Jimmy Mack and Lindsay Lawler's Gang of the Airwaves by subscribing to Radio Nemo on YouTube.
We celebrate all kinds.
Make it official. After all, if you're listening, you're already in the gang. The Road Gang.
It feels like it's kind of, a little bit dirty, a little bit grungy.
Dirty, that's my feet.
And of course I mean dirty and grungy in the rock and roll sense, not in the actual, like I got smuts on my elbow.
I got smuts, they're multiplying.
And I'm losing control. By the way, I can't sing that song. It's not my range. Nothing's in my range, actually.
It's electrifying.
You better shape up, Lindsay,
Hey, Dre.
Yes.
Can you hear us?
Yes.
I'm just making sure.
Yeah, you're here. You would get a phone call.
Okay.
Megan hears all the grease.
Okay,
Oh,
just
fantastic.
making
She's
sure.
the one we want. She's the one we want. Ooh, ooh, ooh,
Megan.
honey. Megan, yeah. Megan, would you care to do the honors on this in regards to bringing our good friend Megan Kate Nelson in here? Or should we make her wait a little bit longer while you and I work out our problems?
Oh God! If we made her wait while we worked out our problems, she wouldn't be on till sometime in I don't know, the galactic future.
Tell us about your moms.
Megan, before we talk about this movie, Megan Kate Nelson, our favorite author, historian, wild woman of the West, Pulitzer Prize nominated writer,
Beautiful woman.
hell of a good time, makes a great cocktail. Do you want to talk about your problems with us for a minute? What's your biggest complaint right now?
Who hurt you?
615-292-6366.
What's your biggest complaint and who's it about? Not what, who.
Daddy issues?
Okay. My biggest complaint right now is that my agent keeps rejecting my next book ideas.
Where's he live?
What?
I know, but I've got one that I think is going to convince her. I'm super excited about it.
Where's
Do you want me to pitch it to you?
I do want you to pitch it, and I want everybody to understand real quick that Megan has a new book that comes out in the spring, right?
Yes, indeed,
Okay.
April 21st.
And here's what's crazy. So everybody listening just got to understand a little bit what it's like to be an author. She's already working on another book before the current book is even out. She's already fighting with her publisher, the gatekeeper.
No, just with my agent.
Your agent.
Agent.
Oh,
Yeah.
I can't pitch it, Megan. I can't pitch the book. There's no way I can pitch this book, right?
Well, so here's how it works. Like, you have to convince your agent that the book is worth pitching to editors at publishing houses. And I've worked with Scribner for the past 3 books, and so really we're only pitching to one person, who is my editor, who I know really well. But yeah, I have pitched, I think, 5 book ideas to my agent since the spring, and she has said no to every single one.
Ew.
I know.
Well, and then
I
what's
know.
that? Give us a real quick, because I'm sure there's somebody out there listening going, well, who cares? It's your ideas. Go somewhere else. But there is a dance. Right. There's a dance between stick your ground, trust your gut, and also there is a formula. There is a method to madness. It's why you have agents. There are relationships. She does know what people are looking for at a certain time in a certain place. That's a real dance that must be wildly frustrating.
Yes, because no one knows what the market is going to do, right? Like, no one has any idea actually what will sell. Like, this is the secret. Like, everyone pretends that they know, but really the only sure things are like Stephen King and Colleen Hoover. Like, they're the only ones who people are like, oh, okay, yeah, you can write whatever you want, right? So yeah, like, and I do trust my agent, but I also, she works for me. So,
and she needs to remember that.
And I, like, the book definitely needs to be marketable, but I also think that this particular idea that I now have, which I am super excited about, totally vibes with everything I've written before, and will be, like my other books, an immersive read that teaches people about people they didn't know before, and about a larger time period they may not have thought about before.
Well, are you comfortable pitching it? Do you want to pitch it for the world here, or is that a no-no?
I mean, It's kind of a no-no. But let me just say, I'll tell you. So it is the story of someone you probably have never heard about, but it's actually more his life and times. He was a con artist who worked his way through the American West during the Gilded Age. So the title of the book is Notorious, A Tale of Fraud, Corruption, and Murder in Gilded Age America.
I'm in.
I'm in
Sound
too.
good? Don't you want to
I'm
read
in.
it?
Of course, I want to read it. What is there? Is there one underlying why this won't work in her eyes? Because nobody knows who he is.
I think because nobody knows who he is.
I love
But my
people,
argument
but
about
that's
that is
nobody knows who they are until they do.
Yeah. And my argument is like it's more important that I show who he is and that I immerse the reader in a time and place, because that's what people really want. Right? They want to read about people doing stuff, and con artists are endlessly fascinating. And this guy is a kind of a love to hate kind of situation. A little bit of an anti-hero, becomes a true villain, and ultimately dies in Alaska. So I would get to go to Alaska, you guys.
Oh. And by the way, this has been a running theme on the show this morning because our first guest, our regular recurring guest, Dean Croak, never got a chance to get his butt over to Alaska. So we're all going to have to go to Alaska. We're going to have to go to the Yukon.
I've never been.
Yes,
It's one of 4 states I haven't been to. Let's go. We need to broadcast
We're doing it.
Western of the Month.
To Alaska. We're going north. The rush is on.
Boom. All right, we're in.
Have there been any westerns set in Alaska? In the Yukon?
North to Alaska.
Oh.
Yeah,
I have never heard of this movie.
There's been a whole bunch that actually I can pull up the list if you want, but if we want to, there's some good stuff, by the way, set in Alaska that qualifies as a western. A lot of groovy stuff. Let me kind of dig in, and I'll come up with some titles for you guys, and then we can pick an Alaska one, and then manifest Road Gang Radio.
We're gonna
making
manifest.
its way. We're gonna manifest Destiny Alaska is what we're gonna do here. Can we kind of talk about this movie?
Let's go. You said it. You picked. This was your pick.
I know.
I'm also. I have a. You set it up, and then I have a. I'm curious because, well, I'll debate you on this in a second, Jim. You set up the movie because it was your pick.
Yeah. By the way, it is, and let me tell you what I like about it. First and foremost, El Dorado, which is a 1966 film by the great American filmmaker. I mean, considered in the pantheon of the greatest filmmakers internationally. Howard Hawks is considered by the French to be among the top 4 or 5 American filmmakers of all time. He worked in every genre. He did Bringing Up Baby. He did The Front Page. He did To Have and To Have Not, along with a whole bunch of incredibly good westerns like Red River. He worked in every single genre in the American motion picture industry and did all of them with honor. He has a classic film in every single genre, including the movie Ball of Fire with Lucille Ball and Henry Fonda. An incredible filmmaker.
She's been called Lucille Ball of Fire. Sorry, go on.
It's really, really cool. And something else really cool, I don't know if you guys know this, the screenplay is by a woman. It's Lee Brackett, who is, by the way, Megan, do you know her title? Either one of you guys know her title, which she was called by people in the industry? This is really cool.
No.
The Queen of the Space Opera. She is known as the Queen of the Space Opera. She's one of the most prominent female writers during the golden age of science fiction, and Howard Hawks just adored her. She also worked in an early draft of The Empire Strikes Back, elements of which remain in the film, and she died before it went into production. And Lawrence Kasdan and George Lucas fought to get her name in there, and they couldn't, because Lucas wasn't Lucas at this point yet. But Lee Brackett was actually the original plot outliner for Empire Strikes Back, and that is the woman who helped create El Dorado, which is really, really cool. I don't know if you guys actually knew that, but I thought you guys would get a kick out of there is a real female hand in this script, and I think sometimes it actually shows. I think despite the real dudes in Dude Town feeling of this film, which I really love about it, it is a film which is that classic story. A group of ranchers are at war over water, over land, over a whole bunch of stuff, and stuck in the middle of it are James Caan, Robert Mitchum, and, of course, the Duke himself, John Wayne. And it's how they play it out, how those three men in particular play this game out that actually ends up determining the outcome of this movie. The villains are great because they're complicated. Well, at least the principal, the real villain, as opposed to Ed Asner, who plays a real scumbag named Jason. And it all comes down to a couple of gunfights and some real ass whoopings. I love this film for one big reason. It feels intimate, if that makes any sense. It doesn't feel like this big, giant, sprawling Western. It's about a small group of people in an incredibly tense situation fighting over very, very, in the scope of the universe, the United States, or even the county, very small stakes. But for them, it's very, very big. And despite the fact that it's made by a filmmaker towards the end of his life, in many ways, there's some really cool film techniques in it that make it feel like it's the work of a younger man. Some jump cuts, the way they do the gunfights in it. There's a moment where the camera races at John Wayne as he fires directly at the screen. It's really cool. And it's also kind of cool to watch somebody, in this movie in particular, work in a shorthand. It doesn't go for a lot of historical accuracy. It looks like it's a Hollywood movie. It knows that it's got Hollywood stars in it. It's got a star in training. It's one of James Caan's first starring roles in anything. And I think he kind of, does himself with honor to a large degree. And it's just a lot of fun. It's just a lot of fun. Has a lot of wisecracks. And Brackett and Hawks can really write some great wise-ass dialogue. And there's a lot of that Marvel feel to it that comes later. People always kind of making wise with each other and admiring each other's skill before they kill each other. A lot of that goes on in this film, too.
I love you, and that is why I have to kill you.
By the way, only 3 men could draw that fast. One of them is dead. One of them is me. So I'm guessing the other one is you. There's a 4th, and all that stuff is just great. And the whole thing with Mississippi, why do they call you Mississippi? And that he throws a knife and he gives him the sawed-off shotgun. All of that stuff is these really tiny touches. It's just, you can tell it's one of those films like Clint Eastwood makes, where it's like, we're going to do things in 3 or 4 takes, we're going to have a really good time, and then we're going to go home. And it feels like just a bunch of old-timers and young-timers kind of getting together and just having a blast for a couple of weeks making a movie. It's like comfort food for me. So as you guys can tell, I'm kind of crazy about this movie. And it's John Wayne before he becomes the total caricature of himself. He actually is pretty good in the film too. So that's my take on it. I'd love either you or Lindsay to kind of give me.
Let's let our guests dive in, Megan, because you hadn't seen this before, right?
I had not seen it before, and I really enjoyed it. I totally agree, Jimmy. It's got the plot is, a classic Western plot. Their fight over water rights in the Southwest, which is totally legit during the range wars of this period. Of course, they're meant to be in Texas, and there are saguaros, which is completely wrong because that's Arizona. But other than that, I read something that said that Howard Hawks was like, don't worry about the plot. It's all about the characters. And I completely agree. Every single character in this movie, I wanted to know more about, which is rare for me in a Western, right? I wanted the backstory. I wanted Maudie's backstory. I thought she was great. She got a lot of screen time that was interesting and not just, yes, she's the kind of saloon boarding house owner, kind of typical female role, but she was a little more interesting than that, as was Joey McDonald, who was awesome and had amazing hair also in the film. But I think Lindsay can address this question, I think, maybe, and I want to know what you think too, Jimmy. I think this film is actually at its base about male friendship.
Yeah.
And I thought that was very interesting, but I also thought, because of that, a character I really liked the most and wanted to know more about was Bull. The older man. He's a former Confederate. He rides into town blowing a horn, but he is just everywhere doing awesome things, and just supporting everyone. And I thought he was just a delight the whole time. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think the male friendship thing, I agree with you because I think that there was kind of like the thesis really talks sort of about professional grace, and there's a theme in here about like you show up for your people even when your body's failing. That's heroism, which is very male. That's very male. That's like not necessarily myth. It's like the maintenance of the body. It's like I am here even if my body is not. I will crawl to my last breath, that kind of thing. And that's, I think, the kind of friendship. But we've been talking a lot, Megan, about generations, as we talk about the boomers, Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Z, and millennials, et cetera. And I think there's an interesting sort of this movie addresses generations really interestingly in a very cliche way, as most generations are. The women are written the way that 60s, as I start to learn more about Westerns, the way that 60s sort of really always portrayed the women. You have, Maudie, who's got the spine. She's like the moral GPS, whatever. Then Joey, who's hot-blooded and impulsive. But the script, to your point, still centers around the male bond. So yeah, I mean, it was like no matter what, you can introduce these women, but at the core, it's always going to be that male bond, that bold male bond. So yes, I certainly agree with you. And quick side note, by the way, guys, I don't know if I've told you this before, but a friend of mine, and someone I sang with and performed with, Jennifer Wayne, who's in the band Runaway June, is John Wayne's granddaughter. I have a friend who's John Wayne's granddaughter. Yeah, so it'd be really fun to have her come on sometime and talk about a John Wayne Western of the Month movie. That might be fun.
Absolutely.
Wow, that's a big get.
I know. I don't know. I didn't think about that till this moment. That would be fun to do. But now I'm like, that could be cool because it'd be interesting as somebody, an actual descendant of John Wayne, to talk about, not to talk about him as a person, but to talk about his roles from her as a female, seeing his roles and how it's portrayed and how it's changed and how, she would maybe attack it these days or something. I don't know. It's just the obviously the male female, the generational thing. It's an ongoing thing, and it's a real interesting conversation now that we're sitting here in 2025.
I had a thought I wanted to share with Megan, and I don't know if it's a movie you've seen before, Lindsay. The first movie that Megan and I ever did before you joined us was Silverado. And I think that there's a direct line, and this is how you'll be able to relate, Lindsay. There is a direct line between the character of Nelson McLeod, the gunfighter, the real sort of
I've not seen it.
the honorable villain.
so
McLeod in this movie, the guy who actually admires Wayne, respects what he does. That's the other thing too. This really is about men at work as well too, because the movie dislikes Bart Jason. It hates him. And it hates him on all sides, meaning that the contempt the movie has for him, because it actually likes Nelson McLeod to a large degree. And by the way, it's the great Christopher George plays Nelson McLeod. But by the way, I wanted to kind of point out to you, Megan, that Nelson McLeod, you can draw a direct line to Brian Dennehy's character in Silverado. And in that movie, Lindsay, it's almost sad when he dies at the end. It's going to happen with Kevin Kline and Brian Dennehy have this gunfight at the end of Silverado, where their last lines is, he goes, "This could have been a sweet deal," and he goes, "It could have." He goes, "Goodbye, Peyton. Goodbye, cop."
Yeah.
And then they draw.
Yeah.
it's so macho and so loving.
That idea, and it's like we know we can stop this, but we're not going.
We're not going to. Yeah. I mean, that sad moment, and Star Trek does this. A lot of television, a lot of movies begin to really explore male relationships in a way that kind of gets disrupted by the 80s. But there's a great episode of Star Trek called the Balance of Terror, where it's a Romulan captain versus Kirk in this game of cat and mouse, and they end up by the end of the whole episode, Lindsay, coming to deeply admire each other. And at the end of it, the Romulan comes on, he goes, "Captain Kirk, I would surrender, but my ship is so damaged that I won't be able to get my crew off. I'm sad about this. I think in a world of peace, we would have been friends." And there's something great about that Nelson McLeod character in that he the deep admiration he looks at John Wayne with, and Wayne returns the admiration. There's a sense of, you're a man who does a job and does it well, And I'm sorry it has to come to this, but this is what it comes to the point where he actually makes him an offer to come work for him. Remember, he says, you should come join us. Nope. And he gets shot in the back. And by the way, I love a movie where Wayne kills a kid in the beginning of the film. He's justified in it, by the way, and then feels so bad about it, he brings the kid's body back to his family, who, except for Josie, forgive him. I mean, it's just like, well, we have to get over this because people die, and people die in stupid ways, and we have to kind of live with this. And they end up being on the same side at the end. It's great.
Can we talk about heroes a bit, and both of y'all's take, and we could start with you, Megan, but the idea of, I don't want to say what's a hero, but sort of a little bit in a broad term, because, you know, we have bodies failing in this movie and people carrying on, that kind of thing. And, like, how does watching John Wayne's hand go numb, you know, in his hand, you see that the hand go numb, or like Mitchum limping, how does that sort of change your I don't know if it changes your definition of a hero, but like you see the hero, the bold person, does it make you, okay, because I guess here's my take, like when I think a hero, the first word that comes to mind is superhero. I think of someone in a cape, but then the moment you see them, you see a physical ailment, or you see, which is what would be, you know, called a weakness. How does that change your perspective of a hero? The fact that, oh my gosh, they have a weakness, or it's like they're going on in spite of their weakness, and that's what makes them a hero.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's totally the latter, because, you know, people talk a lot about bravery and courage and what that really means. And is it that you're just like a kamikaze, like you just have no fear? That a person with no fear is not brave. Right, a person with no fear is not a hero, because in our sense of it, I think the American sense of it, I think, is that you have to get over your fear to do something, and I think in this film, it's more of a moral standing. So that the true heroes are the ones who, you know, the Cole Thornton kind of turns down the job when he figures out that he would have to kill Robert Mitchum's character in order to get it done. And does he need the job? Yes. He would like to make some money. Is he going to do it? No, because he doesn't want to kill his friend, right? So, and someone who he respects. And their kind of physical infirmities by the end were fascinating. And I, of course, as a woman of middle age, was like, I completely relate to this entire situation.
This is a truck driver movie.
Western.
I picked this movie for this reason. This is a truck driver movie.
Can you hear us, Megan?
I can, yeah.
Oh, you can. Okay.
Okay.
Could you hear Jimmy talking?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, good. Sorry. We keep having, Megan, full disclosure, we're in my new studio over here, and I keep seeing a signal go out, and we keep having panic attacks that we're not on the air. So, okay, good. Okay.
But by the way, have you sent Megan the pictures of the studio?
I have not, but I will, because Megan, I'd love for you to come. You got to come to Tennessee and do the show with me sometime here.
Oh my God. We're gonna run out of time here. We got to run out of time here. We got to talk about Redford at some point. You know, the passing of the Sundance Kid.
Well, do you, Megan?
Roll her over?
Can you come back for a couple minutes on the other side of this break? Okay, awesome. We're going to take a quick break, and we won't hold you long. We'll just hold you a few minutes, I promise, because I want to get I love what you said about the idea of just because you're brave. If you're fearless, then nothing matters. It's when it's being scared of something and doing it anyway. That's the hero. So I love that take. All right, we're talking with Megan Kate Nelson. It's our Western of the Month monthly segment, and Megan is here. She's going to stay with us a few more minutes. You can check out all of her work. Megan, what's that website of yours?
It is www.megankatenelson.com.
Easy enough. I could have known that. We'll be right back.